terms, Stephen Lawson, like to hear that as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty universally popular. I
Yes,
would say
not to
not to.
overrun Greenland with U.S. troops.
Yeah, yeah, certainly that's welcome news. In this unfolding saga that is Greenland. But this is really, I think, part. Fortunately or unfortunately, part and parcel of President Trump's, foreign policy is this really coloring outside the lines show of strength
Mhm.
and bravado and doing things differently. Certainly, I think most Americans can understand. Hey, for national security purposes, the United States has an interest in the
Huge
affairs
interest.
of
Yeah,
Greenland,
absolutely.
but the difference is how you go about doing that. I think the president has kind of veered outside of the norms over the last week on that. This was really helpful. I think the markets are
Yes.
responding. But there's a difference between having an increased military presence or partnership with Greenland and threatening to kind of take them over. And that's where I think politically he's gotten a little off track.
I think the success in Venezuela emboldened the president a little bit, and I said this to Erickson the other day. I think President Trump, listen, he's 80, right? And I know when hopefully I make 80, or when Stephen Lawson makes 80, we're going to look back and be like, how we're going to be remembered. What are we going to be remembered for? And I think that's part of the calculus here, is that if President Trump can get Greenland to become part of the United States, that's the second biggest land acquisition in United States history. That would secure his legacy. So I think there's some legacy building element to this. But I think politically, all the Republicans that are on the ballot in November are like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank
do
you,
not
President
want
Trump.
Greenland to be on the ballot
Yeah.
in November 2026. I think you're absolutely right. I think this is a legacy for him. This is, a way that he can leave his mark well beyond his presidency in terms of a tangible, actionable land acquisition. But yeah, I mean, politically, again, there's lots of landmines with a lot of these things. You're seeing this issue of the tariffs with the European Union and NATO allies come to the forefront. That happened with the markets yesterday. Obviously, the markets are responding more positively to the president's comments. But I say that to say is that I ultimately think for the president's fortunes, for Republicans' fortunes, the attention has to come back to domestic issues, has to come back to affordability, and these complications that are arising as some of these foreign policy decisions are playing out could have implications.
And we are going to see that. So Susie Wiles, chief of staff, said this is it for international trips for President Trump for a while. He's going to be out there stumping for Republicans in the midterms. I think he's going to Iowa in a couple of days. So that's, again, got to be a big sigh of relief. Come home and don't ignore what's going on economically for average, everyday Americans. Tout your successes, because I don't think listen, even the strongest Trump critic can say, wow, he got a ceasefire in the Mideast. Like, that's huge. He has closed our southern border right now. Border crossings are nil. Like, talk about those successes, but also empathize with the United States citizens that, we're not in the best place economically. But I think for Republicans that are going to be on the ballot in November, this has been a great 12 hours. It has been a really good 12 hours for them.
Yeah, hopefully more to come. And I think you're absolutely right. There are a number of things, especially on the economic front, that this administration has tackled. Especially with the big, beautiful bill and some of those tax cuts, some of these rural hospital grants, like the list goes on and on. Border security, you mentioned, but there's also more issues ahead that are looming. But if the administration is successful, if Republicans are successful, it's the playbook is, hey, here's what we've done, but here's the things that we've got to work on. Here's the things that we've got to tackle moving forward that average everyday Georgians, average everyday Americans are facing. That is the blueprint. That's the model for them to be successful in November.
Political analyst Stephen Lawson live in studio on the Mark Arum Show. Got some new poll numbers out. This was posted by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, AJC.com. It is a new statewide survey of likely Georgia Republican primary voters. The poll was given, according to the agency, by a conservative-leaning pollster. I don't know who the pollster was. I don't know if it was mentioned in here. Oh, yeah, Public Opinion Strategies. Is that you?
No, it's not me. No.
All right. 600 likely GOP primary voters. Let's start with the results. It looks like the big winner thus far is Representative Mike Collins.
Yeah, this is a survey that came out this morning in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and really tracks kind of with where most of the other polling in this race has been. Mike Collins out in front of that primary at 32%, followed by Buddy Carter at 16%, and then Derek Dooley at 12%. Again, this sort of tracks with what we've seen in terms of the AJC poll that came out a few months ago. Again, the looming question in this race we've talked a lot about on your show. What does the White House do? What does the governor continue to do?
Yeah.
We know that the governor supported Derek Dooley in that contest. Are the White House and the governor ever able to get on the same page, or does the White House go in a different direction? Or what a lot of people think, do they continue to sit out and let it play out a little bit longer? That'll ultimately be the test. But as we've also talked about, all of this is only to the benefit of the incumbent Democrat Senator John Ossoff.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so, I mean, Collins doubling Buddy Carter right now, 32 to 16, Dooley in third at 12. But a third are undecided. That's a significant number. And if you, I mean, who knows what we're going to see endorsement-wise. But if you're Carter or Dooley are in their camps, the game's far from over, right? We still have a ton of time. There's still a lot of money to come in here. And those aren't, margins that are insurmountable. They can gain some ground on those.
That's right. Yeah. Still a large portion of undecided voters. And as I mentioned, the White House has yet to weigh in on this race. As you know, they've been very active across the country. I think that will be a determining factor on this. Certainly lots of ground to go. But Mike Collins continues to be in the pole position in that race.
I know you want to talk about an issue local that impacts a lot of folks. That's the housing property tax issue. You shared with me Eric Erickson's take on the corporations buying households. Broad view, what exactly is going on in the real estate market, and how is it impacting Georgia?
Yeah, well, we've talked about President Trump at Davos. I think he's going to speak to this housing affordability issue. I think he's rolled out a number of proposals, right, to tackle this issue. He's rolled out some bad ones, such as the 50-year mortgage that we've talked about, but there's some really good ones that he's rolled out in terms of the floating mortgage rate, being able to take your mortgage rate and go buy another home and you're locked into that rate. Talking about Fannie and Freddie buying mortgage bonds. This issue around institutional investors, though, I think is one that there's a lot of misperception out there. In Georgia, we've really got a housing supply problem. We have since about 2010. Georgia Public Policy Foundation put out a report basically showing that the number of affordable houses in Georgia has declined from 2010 to 2020. We've seen this massive surge in population growth, but the supply has never kept up with that. And there's so many factors that go into the housing affordability. We talk about zoning, workforce, interest rates. I think it's going to take a large approach, not just from the state level, but from President Trump. But it's a very complicated issue. But really, it comes down to we've got to build more and put more houses for people to be able to buy.
Yeah, it's weird because if you're driving into Midtown or downtown and you see the cranes above and you see all this growth, but there's not been enough housing built for all the folks that are coming to Atlanta, or big families like Longoria that need a bigger house. Because did I break the news that you guys are expecting again? Should I have not said that?
But expecting Lego? That's about the only thing I'm expecting at the house.
But yeah, I mean, there's just not enough roofs for folks to live in. Let's end on the most important issue of the day. Andrew Jones getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame on his 9th try. I watched him firsthand for so many years. Greatest defensive center fielder in baseball history. Finally, Mr. Jones will join the other Braves in the Hall of Fame.
Greatest defensive center fielder and perhaps one of the best center fielders, period.
Yeah.
So excited for him. So excited for Braves country. Long overdue, and now we got to get Mr. Murphy in, and I'm really excited about the season as well.
Yeah, so Murph is going to get another chance in 3 years. It would have been so poetically awesome if Dale Murphy got in with the Veterans Committee and then he and Andrew be inducted on the same day. Do you want to jump on board? We're doing a caravan to the Andrew induction in Cooperstown
I love it. Yeah. Say when.
Have you been there before?
I haven't.
Oh my goodness. It's a life. You
Bucket
might
list item.
you might when you go up there, you might be like, oh, this is where I'm going to move, or I'm going to retire here. It is like the perfect Americana little town. And there's a baseball Hall of Fame here as well.
I love it, and I'll sign the petition to stop the Dodgers from printing money in Los Angeles
or buying Greenland.
Yeah,
the Dodgers.
That's right. Yeah.
Dentons.com for all things Stephen Lawson. Stephen, great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.